All right. Oh, okay. You're going to be right there. That's nice. And cheese is digging. Hi, kids. Welcome back to another pizza party. I'm Mrs. Pizza. This is Weenie. And cheese is that little brown, just like streak of color that's running laps around us. What are you even doing? And we are here today because we are about to start a reading vlog. And the reason we're about to start a reading vlog is because I have read 99 books so far this year. So the next book that I complete will be the 100th book in the year 2023 that I have completed. I know it might not be a big deal, but I'm excited about it. You know, I didn't want to just like willy-nilly pick up a random book and make it my 100th book. I wanted some thought in this. I wanted this to be me reaching my goal with a very clear choice for my 100th book. I'm the moodiest of the mood readers, and so trying to pick a book, just pointing and picking, never works for me. I cannot set like really strong, rigid TBRs because I won't stick to them, because I will literally set up that stack of books and then go, oh, that shiny one over there, that's the one I want to read. So I came up with an idea. We're going to do this almost like a tournament. So what's going to happen is I'm going to pick 2 books. Well, I'm going to pick 10 books, and then I'm going to pick 2 books off the stack, read those. There's going to be a clear winner. And then I'll pick up another book, and those 2 will go against each other until I have my final book that I will be reading as my 100th book of the year. So let's pick some books. I don't... 10 is a lot. 10 is a lot. My hair is stuck. All right, 10 is a lot. I have 10 books here. First books, going head to head. Empire of the Vampire, and this is by Kristoff. And I'm pretty sure this is a vampire fantasy world with vampire slayers. And that's all I know. That's it. That's all I know. We're going to read a chapter of this, and it is going up against... Thank you for moving the camera, Winnie. It is going up against The Rune of Kings by Jenn Lyons. This, I think there might be dragons. That's it. That's all I know. Honestly, I think I almost immediately forget the synopsis of every book I buy so that it's a pleasant surprise for myself when I pick it up. I'm like, that one I think has dragons? That sounds fun. Let's read a chapter of each one of these books and see what happens. All right, you're not gonna believe this, but this book opens with our main character who is imprisoned in some sort of dungeon. This book opens with our main character who's imprisoned in a dungeon. I did not do this on purpose. This book, in the first chapter, we meet who I think is going to be our first character. He is imprisoned in some sort of dungeon tower situation. He is some sort of mythological, like last of his kind of these vampire slayers. Are you going to dig right now? Yeah, you should dig right now, right in front of me. That seems like a good place to make an imaginary hole. This seems like it's going to be very grimdark. This opens with there's 3 kind of narrators going on. So we have it opens with a letter written to someone basically saying they will be providing footnotes for the story that is recorded. And then we get into our first chapter where we're introduced to these 2 characters. One is imprisoned and one is kind of the guard. But the one that's a guard is a shape-shifting demon type character who currently looks like a lady. And then we have our main character who is going to tell us a story because our demon requests it. I think of the 2, I actually liked both first chapters of this, and they definitely, I was giggling to myself that they basically start off the same. I think of the 2, even though I'm very interested in both, I think this is going to be our winner of these two just because I am interested to see where this one heads. So let's see which book is going to go up against it. The next one on the stack is the Jasad Heir. This is by Sara Hashem. It's beautiful. I'm pretty sure this one came through a Lumina crate. It's gorgeous. I know nothing. I think it might be YA, but I don't even know if that's true. Okay, so she's 20, so it might be NA. It might be new adult, not YA, but maybe it's just good if I know nothing and I just go in and read the first chapter, you know? So let's see if this one knocks the Rune of Kings out of contention. All right, so this one opens with us following a main character who is hiding secrets of not only their origin, but the magic they possess from everyone around them when they had to flee their original life when a new power conquered. This power is still holding the throne and threatening people like our main character, and they are living a life in secret. Also, it's their birthday, so that's nice. This really gives you a lot in the first chapter in a good way, but it does feel very YA, and I just don't know if I'm in the mood for YA right now. So, unfortunately, this one does not knock our book out of the top spot. So far, still holding strong. All right, so the next book I'm going to pick up is going to be this behemoth, this bad boy. I'm just picking up all the thick books for my 100th book, apparently, because I guess I want to make it count. This is the Mists of Avalon, and this is by Marion Zimmer Bradley. This is an Arthurian legend retelling having to do with the women of King Arthur. That's all I know. It's an older book. Look at it. Look at those pages. Nice and golden toasty. But let's read a chapter of this and see how it goes. All right. I read the prologue and the first chapter of The Mists of Avalon, and this feels very lyrical. I mean, it makes sense that it would feel very not fairy tale, more mythological, more legendary. It is dealing with a legendary mythological figure. Okay, makes sense, right? But just in the opening of this, we meet Lady Igraine. She has been married off to someone of a different religion. I believe he is a Christian, and she is from a religion that is similar to Druids. It's having to do with priestesses, and she is visited by Merlin and her sister Vivian, who is the Lady of the Lake, and told that she is going to, have to give birth to the next great king that will save them all from this Christian invasion. This sounds like it's going to be incredibly wordy and beautiful, and I feel like I want to read this when it's actually cold outside. I mean, it's 60 degrees outside. Or no, it's probably 70 degrees outside now. This morning it was 60 degrees, and it was magical to be able to go outside wearing a sweater and not start sweating like a pig immediately. But this seems more like a cold weather situation. I want to wait. I want to wait for the winter time to read that one. So we're still have our number one spot. Where is she? There's stacks of book everywhere in this house. So Rune of Kings, still holding that number one spot. The next book we're going to pick up, The Last Magician. I found this in a free little library. I'm assuming it's about a magician. I think this might be about a kid. I don't know. I think this might be YA, which I already said I wasn't really feeling YA. Maybe I'll be feeling this YA. I don't know. We're trying everything. Let's read a chapter. Okay, this is going to be a tough one. So this book opens up with a heist. We are following two characters as they steal something important from a very rich person's house in 1920s New York, where magic exists. And the first chapter happens really, really fast, and then it literally ends and you want to keep turning the page from what's happening. I love a heist story. I love magic. Oh, this is really tough. I think this one might have hit the Rune of Kings out for contention. I really want to read the Rune of Kings, but for some reason, this one immediately I wanted to keep turning chapters. So we now have a new front runner. Let's pick up another book. Which one? Which book shall we pick up? Hold on. We're going to pick up something completely different. We're going to go with Leviathan Wakes. This is the first book in a sci-fi. I think this is like a sci-fi. I know it's a series, but I don't know if it's more of a space opera or if it's a mystery. It sounds like there's a detective involved, so maybe it's more of a mystery. I don't know. Something completely different from what I just read. We're going to pin apples against oranges, you know? Why not? It's my popcorn. It's not your popcorn. All right. I don't know why I'm throwing every single book. I read the prologue in the first chapter of Leviathan Wakes, which is the first book in the Expanse series. This starts with a very grisly scene, and then we move on to, which I assume is going to be the point of views that we usually get. The prologue starts off with a character who has been imprisoned in some sort of storage container on a ship that has been hijacked, and when she finally escapes, she makes a grisly discovery after 8 days of being trapped. And then we move on to the crew of a ship that hauls glaciers across the galaxy for water, and they get the distress signal from the ship that our prologue took place on. This seems like something that I really need to be in the mood for. I enjoyed what I read. I really, really did, but I don't think I'm in the correct mood for this right now, which is probably should have been a giveaway that the only sci-fi book I pulled off my shelf was this one, that I must be in the mood for fantasy. So the front runner is still The Last Magician. We're going to pick up our next book, and I am going to eat a snack because this is a lot. In theory, I mean, I'm having a lot of fun doing this, just like reading a chapter and being like, how do I feel about this? But it also is a lot of like diving into a new world and then abruptly stopping and diving into a new world and abruptly stopping. So the next book I'm going to pick up is The 100,000 Kingdoms by N.K. Jemisin. I have read 2 books by this author and really, really enjoyed them. I like how this author writes. I think this one is this is the start? Is this the start of another series? Looks like it, but I'm just going to start a series, apparently, is what's going to happen. I know nothing. I'll tell you something after I've read the first chapter. This book I think at this point I've dropped something in every single clip I've recorded today. This book starts off with us meeting our main character, who is the child of a royal family member who abdicated their role in order to marry who they wanted. And now this child they're an adult. I believe they're 20 years old, or 19 or 20, but they've been called back to the seat of power where their grandfather basically puts them in competition with 2 of their cousins to be heir to the throne. So they have been thrust into political intrigue and all sorts of court politics without really having any sort of knowledge about how that goes. It sounds like they've been trained by their mother to at least handle the news of this strange rivalry well, but N.K. Jemisin is really good about point of views and kind of doing these little sides where the narrator of the story will stop, tell you something else, and then get back to the story in a way that flows really well. I just don't think I'm in the right mood for this. I think I will. I mean, obviously I'll eventually pick it up. I bought it. I'm interested in it, but no, this one, I still want to know what's going on in this one. What's next? Next up, The Shadow of the Gods by Gwynne. This is a multi-POV Norse fantasy something. Let's read the first chapter. I have finished the first chapter of Shadow of the Gods. This starts off with the point of view of Orca. She is a mother. Her and her, I'm assuming, son and the father of her son are all out teaching him to hunt. When they see something gruesome, hear screams, follow the sounds, find a very grisly scene. People they know, things are happening. Orca seems like she has seen some stuff in her life and is a little hardened for it because she knows how violent and awful the world can be. This book, although I do want to really keep reading, I want to read this when it's cold outside too. I'm finding a lot of books that I want to read in the wintertime. This just seems like it will be much more impactful when the atmosphere is a little chillier. So, we still have the same front runner. Next up is going to be this beautiful book, which is absolutely gorgeous. This is the Illumicrate edition of The Whispering Dark. This I know is YA and I think is dark academia, and I believe our main character is deaf. I think. I'll let you know. How about that? I'll read the first chapter and I'll let you know. Getting all the angles today. So I read the first chapter of The Whispering Dark. This seems like it's going to be dark academia in that we have a main character who has accepted a prestigious scholarship to a college that has ties to the occult. Our main character, Lane, is deaf and wears she wears an implant in order to be able to hear, but she got very sick when she was younger and lost her ability to hear. And since the time that she lost her ability to hear, she's also had this very strange affinity for shadows and the dark and thinking that it's moving and kind of personifying the dark. She is off to this prestigious college, and this first chapter also ends with something that immediately wants you to keep turning the pages. This also takes place in September, so it feels like this would be a great time to pick this up. Is this going to knock our other book out of the first place spot? I don't know. I'm going to reserve the right. These two books are going to go head to head after I read our final book, which is behind me, which is The Luminaries, which this again, I'm sure this is a little bit too shiny, but this is the Illumicrate edition. This is about a forest. I know that our main character's name is Winnie, and that makes me happy. She's got a bone, and my Winnie has a bone, and she's over on the sofa right now. Cheese keeps bumping me. But let's pick up our last book, read that first chapter, and see what our winner ends up being. Well, I think that might have been the shortest first chapter of all of the books that I've read today, but this one is the story of Winnie Wednesday, and she is on corpse duty on her birthday. It sounds like she wants to be a luminary, and the luminary is something that she might not be able to be, but she is in the woods on corpse duty after the luminaries do their thing in the woods on her birthday. This seems like I need to read it when it's a little bit colder outside. I feel like that's the thing I've been saying a million times today. The weather's not right. The weather's not right. The weather has nothing to do with what you read, unless you're me and you need the ambiance to be correct. Okay, I think that I am going to pick up The Last Magician. I think that's going to be the book I'm going to go with because that's the one that I want to keep reading the most. This one, although it did the first chapter, it doesn't even land, or it doesn't end with a cliffhanger so much as it has one of those things where we introduce a character and they say a name and you're like, what? How do we know this person? I still want to read this. I still want to read all the books that I read today. Every single one of them. This was harder than I thought it was going to be. But I'm going to pick up The Last Magician, and that's going to be my 100th book for the year 2023. So when I get 100 pages into that book, I'll tell you some more about what it's about. I have no reading updates for you. Are you about to walk in here? I'm recording. No, you can't just listen. Okay. I have no reading updates for you because my brain has been a little bit on the spicy side, so reading hasn't been an option. But I want to read today. I've got time to read today, so we're going to read today. But before we can read, we got to clean up this house because I don't know how 2 people and 2 dogs make this much mess. So before we read, let's clean. Bye. Everything is chaos. Also, my leg is asleep. That's fun. All right. I am almost 100 pages into The Last Magician, and I can give you a better summary of what this is about. So we are currently following 2 timelines. We have one, stop trying to murder your sister. We have 2 timelines going on in this book. We have to points of view that we're following, although in one of our timelines we have switched point of views once already. It opens in the 1920s in New York City, and we're following this one character who's trying to steal something from a safe during a party in this big fancy house. Well, we learn pretty quickly that not only are they here to steal something, but they are living in a New York City where magic exists. Now, there is this thing called the Order, which is a secret society, is how we'll put it. And this society's job is to hunt down anybody that has magic, and they have somehow created a border around the city of New York, so anyone that has natural magic that comes into the city is then stuck in the city. So all of these people with magic are kind of congregated in New York City under the ruling of this non-magical force that has decided that it's in charge of all magic. So you have all these people that are born with magic of different kinds, which is kind of interesting because everybody has their own affinities. Our main character that is in the 1920s, her affinity is time, and you find out pretty quickly that even though she's in the 1920s, that's not when she's actually from. She's from present day, which I'm assuming present day when this book was written was like 2017. So she's from present day, and she's been sent to steal a very specific thing for a very specific reason. Things go haywire, and unfortunately, she ends up dropping back into 2017, and she's done some damage in the past. At the same time, we are getting the point of view of another character in the early, it's like 1900s, and basically he also has magic, and he's in love with someone that has magic, and she's been kidnapped. We are then introduced to those characters, and there's a group of characters that are all kind of like this gang / underworld magic organization, and our main character from that point of view is in charge. Well, tragedy strikes, and then we jump forward in time with him a little bit because he needs some time to get over the events of what have happened. Now we find out in present day that our main character, what is her name? I know it starts with an E, because they call her E. Esta. Our main character, Esta, is now sent back. Lost my strap. Our main character, Esta, is now sent back to meet up with our other timeline group of people because we know that they are going to commit some heist at some point in the near future for them against the Order. They are going in to where the Order keeps all of these magical artifacts, and they're going to steal a very important one. Esta has to get there because she has to be there to steal something as well. So she needs to somehow infiltrate this group of people that are all magic users in the early 1900s in New York City. This is a heist book, and I love a heist book, and I also love that Ocean's 11 but make it magic. Like, everybody's got their role to play and their strengths, and we have somebody in charge who's trying to get this whole group to pull off this great heist. So far, I'm having a really good time with this. We've been introduced to a new character. I have a feeling that he might be some other character that was alluded to in the very beginning, but we don't know for sure. I think this is going to be a lot of fun. I love a heist book. Who doesn't love a heist book, you know? But I will check back in with you when I've gotten at least to the halfway point, you know? Maybe I'll finish it. Who knows? Who knows with me? Because I just sit down and I start reading. Getting all the best angles. I tried to get, there's literally like a spider hanging. You're on the bookshelf, and there's a spider literally right where you are. We need to talk. I'm sorry. I failed us. I have not picked up The Last Magician since the last time I talked to you. I don't know why. I don't know why I do the things I do, okay? I don't understand me, and if you understand me, you're a step ahead, and I'm happy for you. But I have picked up other books and finished other books, and I've read 102 books. I'm 3 books ahead of. I did all this. I'm just disappointed in myself, really. I'll tell you about the book I'm reading right now. Will that make you happy? Will that make you forgive me? Hold on, I'll go get it. I am currently reading. My hair is also fantastic. I know. Coming at you with the great angles. My hair looks amazing. Hi, Cheesy. Love you. Mean it. Do I smell delicious? I'm currently reading Back in a Spell by Lana Harper. And I'm almost done with it. I'm probably going to finish this tonight. This is in the Witches of Thistle Grove series. The first book in the series is Payback's a Witch. And I have not read that book. I have read one of the books in this series. Let's see if I can find the names of it, and I'll tell you which one I've read. you know? I've read From Bad to Cursed, which is an enemies to lovers, two witches from kind of rival witch families. It was a fun, good time. I love a witchy rom-com, and in the fall, I literally can't stop reading witchy books. It's like as soon as the temperature drops below 80 degrees where I live, I'm like, that's it. I have to read anything about a witch. What? There's a witch in that book? Hand it over. I don't know what my deal is, but I enjoy it. So I am almost finished with this one. This is Payback's. Wait, Back in a Spell. Is that what I said it was called? No, that's what I'm reading right now. From Bad to Cursed. Holy shit. My brain is mush today. It's two rival witch families, but the reason I really enjoyed that one is because our female main character in that one is actually the darker witch, the necromancy witch, the one from the darker witcher family, and our male main character is the green witch, the nature witch, the animal loving witch. It was kind of like the usual roles that this would be the girl and this would be the boy, or this would be the more female character and this would be the more masculine character. They flipped those, and I really enjoyed it in that one, and I like the world that's created. And this one is taking place in that same town and with another member of one of the different witch families. In the first book, which is Payback's a Witch, you are introduced to this town and introduced to the lore of this place, which is basically a magical town named Thistle Grove, where even though humans live there, they are unaware of the witches that kind of rule the town. There is the 4 founding families, and the witches have allegiances to these different families. And so if you are from this family, this is the kind of magic you have. If you're from this family, they have the one that has the nature magic, the one that has the kind of darker necromancy magic, the one that's got the more like powerful elemental magic. And then you have a family that has more of a, I want to call it a seeing magic, but that doesn't make any sense. You know, seeing stones, seeing the future, seeing the past kind of magic. The first book was similar to John Tucker Must Die in that, even though I haven't read it, I heard a lot of people really liked it, but basically there was a character that had fooled around on these other characters, and they were all kind of vying in this competition to hold the crown and in so kind of rule the town and be in charge of the magic of all the witches in town through this competition. In this book, we actually have I'm going to call him the villain, but the guy that did everybody wrong, his sister. He comes from one of the most affluent and wealthiest families of all the witch families, and his sister is kind of seen as this ice queen. She works as a lawyer for her family. She's seen as an ice queen. She's always like dressed to the nines, very like white cream, stark, minimalist. You know what I mean? We all know, we've all met her. We've all seen her. We've all watched her buy her white cashmere sweater. So in this book, she is our main female character, and she has gone through recently a pretty hard breakup. She was engaged, and her fiance dumped her like a week before the wedding, which was super hard on her. But it sounds like her fiance was kind of like a manic pixie dream girl, which doesn't make sense with our character. So now she is struggling to kind of pick up her life and be happy again. And so a friend of hers decides to, I'm not going to say dare her, but gives her this, like, do this, and if it goes wrong, you know, what could really go wrong? She offers to give her pigs in a blanket, cook them for her if, you know, it goes terribly. So even if it all falls apart, she's going to get food. I'm explaining this terribly. Basically, her friend says, hey, you need to get back out there, but let's do it with low stakes. Let's get on the dating apps, swipe right on someone that is someone you could never see yourself with. So there's no pressure. So you don't feel the pressure to make this turn into a lasting relationship. You're just gonna go have a good time. And if it goes horribly, I'll make you hors d'oeuvres. There you go. So our female main character goes out with this person that they would never have seen themselves with. They go by he, they. They use male pronouns for the most part in the story. His name is Morty, and he has been previously introduced. He owns a bar in town, but he's a human. He's a non-magical person and has no idea magic exists. Our main character, Nina, and her really awful date, it goes very poorly. They almost immediately realize who they are because they have history with each other that they didn't know they had. Basically, Nina's family at one point tried to buy Morty's bar and were very kind of aggressive about wanting to purchase his bar from him, his family's bar, and they didn't want to sell. So they have this bad blood between each other, even though they've never met. They meet for the first time on this date. It goes awful. They both wake up the next morning and something has magically gone wrong. Nina now has superpowers. She has gone from being a powerful witch to the powerful witch. And Morty, who's a straight up human, who's never had magic before, wakes up with magic. So these two, after a terrible first date, are kind of stuck together trying to figure out what's going on. It's sweet. It's fun. I like these books because I like this world of this witchy small town where all the witches know everybody and everybody has their powers that they specialize in. My microphone died. I don't even know the last thing I recorded. Nina is more than meets the eye and Morty is maybe exactly what she needed. So I'm really enjoying this. I love a witchy rom-com in the fall times, but I started out this vlog trying to read my 100th book and picking out a very specific book and then just not reading that book because apparently I'm the moodiest mood reader that ever lived. But as a consolation prize, do you want to see what I got from Lush? You do, don't you? Do you want to see what I got from Lush? I bought myself some fall time goodies. It smells phenomenal in here. Oh my God, I love it so much. I bought myself things for the Halloween times. If you can't tell already, I've been a little scatterbrained. Look, it's a ghosty bath bomb. Smells delicious. You want to smell it? Kind of smells like Fruit Loops. What else did I get? I don't even remember what I got. Past me was just trying to help future me out, you know? Oh, I fell in another bath bomb. Look at him. Oh, he's so cute. That one kind of smells minty. I know I got something else. This is Toil and Trouble Body Scrub. Oh, lavender and peppermint infusions leave you feeling mysteriously invigorated. It's an herbal concoction. Bewitching. This one, I think... If you can see. It has little jelly bats in it. That's so slimy. Oh, it smells delicious though. Why does this smell like jelly beans? So you're not mad at me anymore, right? For not reading the book I said I was going to read? I'm not mad at me anymore. I'm going to be fully exfoliated in the bathtub. I'm going to finish this book and then I'll tell you how this one turned out, okay? Let's just try and stay with me.
So high, I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it.
Hi, I don't feel good. I don't feel sick. I feel like I need to put that out there. I don't feel sick. I just don't feel great. One, it feels like my brain is full of olive oil right now, just kind of slushing around. Everything's real slidey. Here, I'll tell you this. With what I do for a living, I am coming in contact with the public constantly, and the public has germs. I don't know if you know this, but the public is pretty gross. Even the nice ones, they're nasty. So... because I am constantly coming in contact with other people's germs, always washing my hands, wiping things down, trying my hardest to not get sick, I think I get exposed to a lot of germs, and so my immune system is like a rock star. My immune system is making her money's worth, you know? So a lot of the times what happens to me is someone brings a germ in and I'm almost 100% positive I've probably already been exposed to that germ in some capacity. And so instead of getting full-blown sick, I just feel run down for a day or two and then I'm fine. I never get a full-blown cold. I mean, I do get sick. I got COVID last year and it was awful, but I don't get full-blown sick like I feel like everyone else does. And the people that work with me have had the same experience where it's you just have a day where your body goes into power saving mode because it's girl, we've seen these before. We know what to do, but we need you to lay down and not do anything while we make sure you don't get sick. So that's what it feels like. I feel like somebody needs to plug me in the wall and charge me. That being said, Mr. Pizza doesn't feel good today, so maybe I brought home the germ and he's going to get the full-blown cold, or maybe he brought home the germ. Maybe it wasn't me. Maybe it wasn't me for a change. But now that you're updated on why I want to make a cocoon and not get out of it, let's talk about the book I finished. This was fine. I enjoyed it. I think I like this world and the concept of this world more than I like any of the individual books, which is honestly a benefit for the series because I keep wanting to pick them up. I liked both characters in this. I liked their arcs. I like where they went. I will say, as far as like rom-coms go, I don't feel like there's a whole lot of comedy in this. I feel like a lot of things are marketed as rom-coms, and although you might have like lighter moments or a laugh here or there, I don't feel like this is a full-blown like rom-com. You know, Julia Roberts, that just aged me right there because I was about to be like, Julia Roberts wouldn't star in this mess, but just Julia Roberts doesn't star in any mess anymore. Does she even act anymore? She doesn't need to, probably. I mean, I'm sure she made plenty of money in the 90s, in the early 2000s. Like, good on her for retiring if that's what's happening. But hi, welcome to my brain. Watching myself and recording myself, I'm pretty sure I have ADD. Like, I've never in my life thought I had ADD until you actually start observing yourself from like an outside lens and you're like, ooh, girl. The fact that any shiny object totally just grabs your attention. And yet when you are focused, you are so laser focused. Also, TikTok thinks I have ADD. TikTok also has been giving me I am on witchtok. I don't know how I got there, but I am on witchtok. And it goes really well. It pairs really well with this book. But according to this witch on TikTok, that if I'm feeling run down and there's a lot of flies in my house, I need to perform some sort of ritual. And you know, thank you. Thank you for looking out for me, witchtok. I will say these are a little bit more dramatic in the like CW type dramatic, even though I feel like they deal with a little bit, you know, more than like your average family friendly. This is not family friendly. They have the spicy scenes, but this is like a regular drama that has some lighter moments in it. If this was a TV show, you would have all of the push and pull and the darker moments but it's more of like, it has the drama level of like a long running TV show where it's these characters needing to make good choices, but it's not over the top. It's not like a soap opera. It's more of a drama romance. I hope I'm making sense because olive oil brain is just not helping. I will say in this character, we are introduced, well, I'm pretty sure she was in some of the other books as well, but there is an incident that happens to a character and then she is going to be one of the leads in our next book. And I believe there's a little excerpt in the back of this book that talks about like, that is from that book in Charm's Way, which I've already added to cart because I really liked that character. She's kind of like grumpy, a little grumpy, but like but she's good grumpy. I like her. And I think in that book, she ends up with a monster slayer, super cool monster slayer lady comes to town. And I think it's the romance between those two. And I'm super interested in that. So I went ahead and put that one in my cart as well. I like this world. And I think that's what these books have going for them. Even if I don't necessarily like really get invested in the romance, I still like the people. I like the romance. It's the world that's been created by this author that has really just sucked me in. And the reason that I will keep picking up those books. Also, it's October, so I have to read all the witchy books. It's like a prerequisite, you know, for no one but me. And it's something I've set upon myself. I also hate that I started this vlog with a lot of intention and it just went out the window, which is another symptom that's got me thinking I might have the undiagnosed ADD. Which is nothing to joke about. People that have ADD have struggles, and I'm not joking about it. I actually think I'm in your club. I think I might be in your club. But that, kids, is where we're going to end this absolutely chaotic reading vlog where I read my 100th book. And right now, I think if you went on my Goodreads, I'm at 104 or 5 books. I'm doing well. I reached my goal. We've only just hit October. But if you had fun hanging out with me and the dogs, please subscribe. I hope you're reading good books out there, wherever you are, and I'll see you next time.